If you're an international student applying to an American college, that's awesome. I studied abroad too, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. In this video, I'm going to cover tips specifically for international students applying to US universities to give you the best shot at acceptance. First, I encourage you to brainstorm how you can differentiate yourself from other international students in your personal statement. You're already different from domestic students, however, you're also competing with over 1 million international students who will all highlight their strengths as foreign applicants. For example, they might discuss how they will foster cultural exchange on campus, or maybe they'll write about unique cultural experiences from their country to captivate admissions officers. If I were an international student applying to an American university, I would balance highlighting my natural ability to promote cultural enrichment with personal insights, values, and achievements. I would follow the same best practices of essay writing for domestic students and augment them with specific details of my life as a foreigner, distinguishing myself as a unique applicant but presenting as more than just someone from outside America. Let me give you an example. Swedish social norms are fettered by 10 rules called the Jantelagen, which abridged state, "You are not to think you're anyone special or that you're better than we are. Do not stand out. Do not be proud." International friends express indignation when I recount being grounded for 3 weeks after celebrating my win at the Stockholm Junior Water Prize. My Swedish relatives, however, offer a different understanding. My parents protected my peers from feeling overshadowed. The Jantelagen's chains on my happiness shield the community, and Swedes revere the Jantelagen for that. Talk about Stockholm Syndrome. Sorry, but I promise that's the only pun in my essay. Imagine this as an introduction, okay? I'm gonna break this down and explain why it works. This first sentence accomplishes 2 critical objectives. 1, it delivers a good hook. Swedish social norms are ruled by something that states "do not think you're anyone special." That's interesting. The admissions officer probably doesn't know that. 2, the word fettered, which means chained, gives us insight into the author's values. Immediately, there is conflict between the author's principles and his cultures. By the way, in American English, this period goes inside the quotation marks. The repetition of "do not" in the 2 subsequent sentences is technically a literary device called anaphora. That doesn't matter at all, but that deliberate repetition helps demonstrate the author's English mastery. Furthermore, these 2 punchy short sentences break up the pace from the lengthy initial line. Now we're seeing a practical example of the contrast between the author's values and Swedish culture. The specificity of the time the author was grounded for, 3 weeks, makes the scene more real for the reader. Additionally, this is a good example of introducing an achievement without appearing boastful. The author mentions his win in the context of being punished for doing something wrong. This line is vital because we get an explanation for why the Jantelagen exist, and it shows the author understands their intended purpose. He's able to see both sides of the argument. The word chains here reinforces the imagery of these social rules as imprisonment and completes the argument from the first sentence. The Jantelagen chain the author's happiness. The introduction ends by injecting a little bit of humor. It's not hilarious, I get it, but it's safe and shows an additional facet of the author's personality. He's already turning into a 3-dimensional human for the reader. If you don't know, Stockholm Syndrome is a phenomenon where a victim becomes emotionally attached to their abuser or captor. The author is implying that's what's happening with Swedish people in the Jantelagen, and Stockholm is the capital of Sweden. That's the pun. Regarding the parenthetical apology, puns in American culture are regarded as the lowest form of humor, so the author apologizes for his bad joke. From here, the author might discuss how his understanding and relationship with the Jantelagen changed over time, how he applied those lessons to other actions and achievements, and his goals for the future. Does all that make sense? This is how you can leverage your status as an international applicant to add value to your essay while still differentiating yourself from other international students with a unique, well-rounded personal statement. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Chris from Mooshly.com. I have an English bachelor's with a creative writing concentration and an MBA. Now I work as a consultant, but I've been a professional writer, and I've helped a lot of my connections improve their writing and get accepted to elite academic institutions and programs like Ivy Leagues, medical schools, and MBA programs. I frequently get asked for writing advice, so I decided to put some of it out there to help you for free. I wrote a very detailed college essay introduction guide I highly recommend you check out. Click the link in the description to download it for free. Next, I recommend you understand the purpose of the American college essay. Depending on where you're from, writing this essay might feel odd. You might expect your college to rely solely on transcripts, test scores, or letters of recommendation. The American college essay is your opportunity to add a personal argument for your acceptance. Let me elucidate this for you. Imagine you're a college admissions officer and you have to accept one student out of 10. All 10 applicants have similar test scores, grades, and extracurricular activities. How do you decide who to admit? Admissions officers examine your essay to ascertain qualitative characteristics that would benefit their university. Realize that American colleges receive literally millions of applicants every year. To select good fits for their school, admissions officers might place more value on those qualitative metrics than you expect. And essays are the best way for them to glean this information. Keeping that in mind, don't repeat your resume in your college essay. Your transcript is like a sales letter for yourself, but your personal statement is your opportunity to convince the admissions officer face-to-face to buy. To be persuasive, I recommend using a personal tone when writing your essay. This is not an academic research paper. You want to be professional, but not overly formal, because in American culture that will add distance between you and the reader. Remember, your goal is to sell your acceptance to the admissions officer. In US culture, you have to be likable, and being likable requires proximity to the other person. You want to appear genuine. Let me give you an example. To whom it may concern, I am propelled by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and intellectual exploration. My academic pursuits, characterized by meticulous adherence to the highest standards, have engendered a profound appreciation for the intricacies inherent in the pursuit of higher education. Furthermore, my appreciation of complex subject matter has been honed through rigorous engagement with a plethora of academic disciplines, thereby equipping me the requisite skills to navigate the intellectual challenges that await in higher education. I am ardently committed to actualizing my potential and contributing meaningfully to the academic community. Best, Chris. That's awful. You'll get rejected if you write like that. A robot wrote that. Your essay has to be more personal, like what we broke down earlier. One last point about this. Please remember that you must include how your admission will benefit the university. It's not just about how much you want to go. Everybody wants to go to Harvard. They have enough want. Like with any sales, you're trying to show them how much you can do for them. Finally, if English is not your first language, I really recommend you have a native speaker look over your essay if you can. Preferably an American who also has the cultural fluency to provide the best feedback. If you're unsure about a word or grammar rules, it's okay to keep it simple. I would rather you use overly simplistic sentences that are correct than try to impress the admissions officer with highly complex language and structure. I sincerely wish you the best of luck, and don't forget to grab your free essay introduction guide from the link in the comments. It's really good and it will help you out a lot, I promise. See you next time.